Why Nations Fail: The Origins of Power, Prosperity, and Poverty by Daron Acemoglu and James A. Robinson is a profound exploration into the causes behind the economic disparities observed between different countries. The authors argue that the prosperity of nations is primarily determined by their political and economic institutions, which can be categorized into inclusive or extractive systems. Here's a detailed summary of the book. Introduction: The need for a theory of political and economic development. Acemoglu and Robinson start by emphasizing the importance of institutions in determining the success of nations. They explain that traditional theories attributing economic success to geographical factors, culture, or ignorance of leaders are inadequate. Instead, the authors propose that political and economic institutions play a critical role. Chapter 1. So close and yet so different. The authors illustrate their argument by comparing Nogales, Arizona, and Nogales, Sonora, two towns with starkly different economic outcomes despite their geographical proximity. They attribute the difference to the political and economic institutions in the United States and Mexico. The U.S. has inclusive institutions that encourage innovation and investment, while Mexico's extractive institutions concentrate power and wealth among a few. Chapter 2. Theories that don't work. Acemoglu and Robinson critique existing theories, such as geography, culture, and ignorance. They argue that geographical theories cannot explain variations within the same regions, cultural theories fail to account for changes over time, and ignorance theories overlook the role of vested interests in maintaining extractive institutions. Chapter 3. The Making of Prosperity and Poverty. This chapter delves into the historical evolution of institutions. Inclusive institutions, which provide secure property rights and unbiased legal systems, create a level playing field that encourages economic activity. Extractive institutions, on the other hand, are designed to extract resources from the many by the few, stifling economic growth and innovation. Chapter 4. Small Differences and Critical Junctures. The Weight of History. Acemoglu and Robinson introduce the concept of critical junctures, moments when significant events lead to institutional changes. They argue that small differences in initial conditions can lead to divergent paths due to the cumulative nature of institutional development. For instance, the Black Death led to different political outcomes in Western and Eastern Europe, setting them on different economic trajectories. Chapter 5. I've seen the future, and it works. Growth under extractive institutions. This chapter examines cases where extractive institutions have led to economic growth, such as the Soviet Union and China. However, the authors argue that such growth is not sustainable because it lacks the creative destruction necessary for long-term innovation. Extractive institutions eventually hinder growth by failing to provide incentives for individuals to invest in education and technology.